Thank you so much for joining us on Straight Out of Savannah, talking with Tammy. With my guest, Daniel Jackson is here, and he is an extraordinary young man. And he's going to share a little bit about himself and what it is that he does. Daniel, take it away.
Well, I'm just surprised that you said I'm an extraordinary young man, but okay, I'll go for that. Uh, if you say so, you're in charge here. um, my name is Daniel Jackson. I call myself a spirit medium. I don't call myself psychic. Um, I believe because a lot of that is getting mixed up nowadays, especially with TV and movies. They want you to believe one thing when it's just totally different than what they say it is. Uh,
Yes.
I do get messages from people if they're going to book a reading with me. As long as they make the intention to get the reading with me, then I start getting messages. But I don't call that psychic. I just call that being connected. Um, have seen spirit my entire life, ever since I was 3 or 4.
Yes.
The house we lived in was haunted. It was a haunted area because of a battlefield near my home. Um, to the point where my sister was getting ready for school one morning, and her and my mom were in the bathroom, and they looked in the mirror, and when they did, it was a full-length mirror. There was another woman standing in the mirror. She was dressed in a colonial outfit. um, to the point, my sister had a record player. This is back in the 70s, because like I said, I'm old. And you picked up the record, and then you hit this switch, and it would drop that record down. And when it did, it would play. Well, me and my brothers would be downstairs watching TV, and that record would turn on upstairs for when no one's up there. And then what it would do, it would play different records. So if it was playing different records, whatever it was upstairs was lifting those records off and putting other ones on. Um, till one time, later on, my mom and dad and I moved out of the house. We moved down to Delaware. My brother bought the house, crazy enough, and he had some friends come over to the house, and there was a big picture window there, and they were knocking on his door trying to get him the answer, and he wouldn't come to the door. And then they called him up and they said, "Hey, we're knocking on the door. We see people walking around in the house. How come you're not answering?" And my brother said, "Because we're not there. We're on a camping trip." So all the people he saw walking around inside of the
Oh,
house
wow.
were spirit. Yeah, they saw people. uh, so then, yeah, we came down here to Delaware, and my mom and dad
Wow.
weren't seeing anything, but I was seeing stuff down here all the time. To the point where, like, once I used to play in a band back in the 80s, so I had big hair, and I had a zebra striped spandex on, all that crazy stuff. And I came home from a gig, and when I laid down in bed, uh, something kept laying down next to me in bed, and I felt the pillow move down everywhere. I still can remember it to this day. And it happened 3 or 4 times. And then when I sat up that fifth time to look around, whatever it was there picked the blanket up and brought it up to the ceiling and shook it above me. And then it dropped it on me. And then after that, I slept on the couch for 2 months because I was scared, like crazy scared. Because I was born into being Catholic. So we were told these were bad things. There were demons and devils and all that. Uh,
Catholic.
yeah, yeah, Catholic. Oh boy. And yeah, so I was seeing things at that home all the time. Had a girlfriend one time, more than that. And she was at the end of the bed, and I was at the by the headboard watching TV. And this big white thing about 2 feet thick and 4 feet long snaked its way out of the closet and went halfway across the room, and then it just disappeared. Um, I was seeing all kinds of crazy shadows there. I remember one time my grandfather was away, and I was in his room laying on his bed, and my sister had her little pet there. It was a ferret in a cage, and it kept making noise, and I kept sitting up saying, "Hey, knock it off, knock it off." And then one time I went to say knock it off, and when I sat up, I saw my grandfather's chair rocking, and my grandmother, who had already been gone for 3 years, was actually sitting in the chair, rocking back and forth. And then she turned around and looked at me, and I looked at her, and then she just disappeared, and that was it.
Now, did this scare you?
You
Now,
know,
did it scare you at all?
no, because I'll tell you, after seeing it so much throughout my life, especially growing up with it at a young age, it didn't scare me. I just saw it so much, it just became normal. Um, but yeah, people always ask me that when you see all these, does it scare you? And you just when you see it all the time, when you're experiencing it all the time, uh, it just becomes part of your
Mhm.
life. Um, but yeah, even after leaving that house,
Right.
I went to
And
an
did you have anybody that you could talk to about it?
no, that was the only thing. I mean, I would tell my friends. They all knew about it because I would tell them stories of all the things that I've seen. But even as I grew up and got older, I was still seeing stuff in every house that I went to, all the way till I got to this house here, and it was right. I was married again. I was right around my 50th birthday. My wife went away on vacation to see her daughter across into California, and when she left, that's when I started seeing everything that you would consider scary. Um, I was down in the basement
Okay.
and I saw my cat was down there and I said, "Come on, buddy, it's time to go upstairs." And he looked at me, he looked to his right, and I looked to my left and I saw this wall of blackness just form in the middle of the room. And when that happened, a man walked out of it. And this man had this big wide rim hat on, his long coat, black coat. I could see his chin and his nose, but I couldn't really make out the rest of his features. And he walked across the room. And when he did, when he was walking, he didn't have any feet, but he had perfect stride walking. And he walked across that room and then he just disappeared. And then I started seeing other crazy things like green and red mist was coming out of the walls, just floating out of the walls onto the floor. And these skulls were coming out of the walls and they had red eyes and fangs. Uh, I was seeing these 7-foot skeletons walk around the room. I saw this, I was in the bed one time.
So, so what do you do when you see these things?
Watch. I just watch. When I saw that man come out of that wall,
Because it almost sounds like a movie.
it looked like every scary movie that had ever been played was playing out in my house at that time. Yeah,
Hmm.
it looked kind of crazy, and I was just watching. Like when I saw that man come out of that wall of blackness, I just watched him go across the floor, and I was like, "What's he doing? What's going on here?" This was, yeah. I mean, what else could I do? I wasn't going to scream or anything like that. I just, maybe I should have screamed like a little girl. I don't know. I just didn't know what to do except just watch because every time I saw something, everything was always different when I saw it. It was always something different all the time. It never the same thing twice. Um, I used to see this. I would see this thing come out of the corner of the room when I was sleeping. A cloud would come out of the room and into the room. And one time it was red, one time it was gray, green, blue, black, yellow, and then it came through red with black stripes, blue with black stripes, green with black stripes. I was seeing all kinds of stuff. Um, so then when my wife finally came home, oh, there was one time I was in bed laying there, rolled over to see what time it was. And when I did, there was a little girl kneeling next to my bed. And she had blonde hair, blue eyes, and a blue and white dress on. And, but yeah, when my wife finally came home, um, she told me about her adventures in California. And then I told her about my adventures here at home. And, and she's a nurse. So she thought maybe because I'm diabetic, maybe there was something wrong with my medication. And but within a couple of days, she started seeing some of the same stuff as well. Um, so me being Catholic, she was brought up Mormon. We just let's just reach out and I said we got to find out something about this, get some help. So I thought about maybe going to try to find a priest, maybe to do a exorcism, because that's what you do, you know. And but I couldn't find a priest that would come here. They didn't want to come here. Um, and then I reached out to a
What?
paranormal. Yeah, the priests don't want to come here. They don't want to mess with all that stuff. They're afraid of that stuff. And I had a paranormal group come here.
Well, they do so on TV.
Well, yeah, because that's what TV is all about. Because TV and movies are fake. That's why. That's all bull crap there. And but yeah, we had that paranormal group come out to the house. And I'll tell you, the only thing that's what's disturbing for that was when they got to the house, they pulled up in their little van and they had their insignia on the side of the van. And I just thought to myself, I don't want to be this kind of famous, you know, because everybody's going to live around me thinking I got the Blair Witch Project going on in my house. And but they came to the house.
That was my thought. That was my
Right, because everybody's, oh, it's poltergeist. I'm living next to poltergeist. And yeah, you are living next to poltergeist, but I'm the walking poltergeist. Yeah, so these guys brought everything into their house, these little boxes with wires on it and lights on it, and they set them all around the doors. And we were talking in the room, and I said, what do those things do? And they said, well, if you rub your hand on the couch here, it's static electricity. He put his hand over it, waved his hand, and then these little things just all lit up, all lit up. And I was like, oh, that's pretty neat. So then they said, where do you have a lot of activity? And I said, in the bedroom. And they said, all right, let's go in there. And I walked in there. And as soon as I walked past there, every one of these little boxes all lit up. They all blew. And I was like, I was looking around like, what is going on? Why did it do all that? And they're looking at me with their mouths open like, huh? And I was like, yeah. So we go in the bedroom and talk for a little while. And then we leave the bedroom. I go out of the bedroom. And when I go out, all the little boxes lit right back up again. And I was like, this is crazy. What's going on? They walk through the room and nothing happens. But when I walk through past it, they all get lit up. And then this one lady, she was taking pictures, these digital photos. And she would take a picture of each member of the team, because there was 4 of them there, and then me with each one of them. And each time she just took a picture of them, nothing. But every time I was standing next to somebody or even by myself, there's like 15 or 20 light orbs that are completely surrounding me. And I was like, what's with all that? And she said, well, as far as we know, they're people. And I said, so why do I got so many around me? And they were like, I don't know. We don't know what's going on here. So then they had this thing called an ovulus. And it's a machine that when energy comes into it, it spits out words. It's got this vocabulary of like 5,000 words. So they had me go in the bedroom. This was all at nighttime, pretend I was sleeping. So I lay down. And when I pretend to go to sleep, they come in with this machine and they turn it on. And when they turn it on, that's when it started going nuts from there. We had a conversation with this machine for 10 minutes. They would talk, and all of a sudden the machine starts spitting out words, and it said in this computer voice, it said Helen, Paul, Wendy, Michael, and then it started saying words like unique, energy, special, crazy stuff. One time it even said the word road, like a street. It said road. And when it did that, a car went right past my house. And I was like, this is crazy, man. So then they started asking this thing some questions to see what would come through. And they asked a question, and this one was crazy. They said, are you here to harm Daniel? And then all of a sudden it came right through. It said, no, we are not here to harm Daniel. We love Daniel. Daniel is special. Daniel is the light. And when it said Daniel is the light, I was like, what does it mean by that? You know? And they asked questions for like 10 minutes. This went on for 10 minutes like crazy. And then it finally calmed down and they walked out of the room. I got up and I walked out of the room. And I saw my wife standing out there, and I saw them all huddled up. And I was like, I said, what? I said to my wife, what's going on? She said, I don't know. They're talking about something. I said, all right. Finally, they got done talking, and they turned around and looked at me, and I said, so what's going on here? And they said, we don't know, Mr. Jackson. I said, why? I said, well, usually that machine, we can get it to spit out 1 or 2 words, but it never says that many words. And I was like, okay. And they said, well, that's not the strange part. I said, what's the strange part? And they said, well, it said sentences. I said, yeah, I heard that. They said, it never says sentences. It never says full sentences. It only says words.
Wow.
Yeah, I was like,
Wow. So you were
wow.
like a case study for them.
Well, that's what I thought. So at the end of it, I said, well, okay, what are we going to do now? And he said, well, we'll come back in 2 weeks with a big reveal and we'll tell you everything that happened. And I said, okay. So they said, just act normal and we'll be back in a couple of weeks. We'll let you know. I was okay, no problem. So 2 weeks went by, and then 3 weeks went by, and then it had been a month. So I called them. And when I called them, the leader said, I said, are you going to come back to the house and big reveal? And he said, no, we're not. And I said, why not? And he said, I can't get the team together. They all quit. And I said, why did they quit? He said, because they're afraid to come back into your house. They don't want anything to do with us. They're afraid of your house, and they don't want to come back. I said, well, can you come back? He said, I'm not too happy about coming back to your house either, Mr. Jackson. And I said, so what do you mean they're afraid? He said, well, he said, we never get this kind of information from one house. It always takes like 10 or 15 houses to get all this information, not just one. And I said, oh, okay. And he said, yeah, we don't feel it's safe enough for us to come in there. And I said, well, that's not right. I said, you're the professionals. You do this for a living, correct? He said, yeah, well, we were doing it, but they all quit, so not anymore. And I said, okay, well, I said, maybe you ought to get into a different line of work because you're not helping anybody. You're sure not helping me. And he said, yeah, I don't know what we're going to do at this point. So after that, I went out and sought out some other mediums, and I got a hold of about 5 of them. I talked with all 5 of them. None of them knew each other, and every one of them told me the same story about me. One in particular told me that she said, I'm a super bright white light, that spirit sees me, and they believe that I am the light into heaven. So I said, okay. And she said, well, you have an ability to see them, but the reason you're seeing so many is because they're coming to you. They see you, and that's why you're seeing so many. I said, okay. I said, so what do I need to do about this? She said, well, I don't think you want it to go away, do you? And I said, no, because it's part of my life. I'm getting used to it, but I'm not too thrilled about all these skulls and skeletons and stuff. And she said, well, I think they're just testing you. I think they want to see what you're going to do with this. And I said, all right. She said, so you need to have a talk. You need to have a sit down and have a talk with God or the higher power, whatever you want to call him. I said, well, that's God. I believe in God. And she said, well, you need to have a talk with him and choose if you're going to keep this or if you're going to push it away. And I said, push it away. She said, yeah, you can push it away if you don't want it. I said, well, I don't want to do that. If I could do something with it, like maybe help people, that would be great. She said, well, then I guess you got to have this talk. So my wife and I went home and talked about it. And then I went in my bedroom, turned out the lights, and I had a talk with God and told him.
And how
I
does she
said,
feel about it?
She wanted some clarity as well, some peace of mind or something, because there was so much going on in my house. I mean, we were doing everything that TV and movies said you should do. I mean, we were pouring salt around the house and putting crosses up everywhere because that's what you're told on TV. But she wanted something to turn around
Yes.
at that point. It was driving her crazy. It was driving us both crazy. I mean, this went on for like 6 months before we actually found out what was going on. And so, yeah, I went in and had that talk. And the very next day, everything changed. to the point within just a few months, slowly, all those crazy, scary things went away. The green mist, the green and red mist went away right away. Those skulls that I was seeing, they started to fade away. It went from like 5 to like 3 to 2, 1. They were all disappearing. And then finally, after a while, I just started asking for different things, and they started coming through. Instead of seeing the skulls, I was seeing faces now,
Wow.
and I see faces everywhere. I see more faces in a day than any paranormal group is going to see in a year. I see, it's for me now, it's if I'm in a dark room, it's like being in a room with 1,000 people, except nobody leaves and more people just keep coming in. I don't know who they all are. I just know they've passed away. But things have also changed for me as well, like my regular vision. Like if I look at your wall back there and your wall is white with that tiger on the front, even if I look at the tiger, when I see that, you may see it in white and black and gray, but I don't. It's white, black, gray, and blue. Everything that I look at with my regular vision has blue in it. I see energy all the time. It never goes away. I open my eyes, I see energy. Close my eyes, I see energy. It's always there. I don't see the stars at night anymore. The stars went away about 3 years ago. When I look up in the sky at nighttime, all I see is a blue-black sky, the
You seen
moon.
the place.
Yeah, all I see is energy everywhere.
So what would you suggest to somebody that was having those type of visions and things that you've seen? Like if somebody came to you and they said, this is happening to me and I'm seeing, people and whatever. What would you say to them? I mean, because like you said, a lot of times you don't have anybody that you can talk to about that. So what would be
I
something that you would say,
um
maybe to encourage them or just to help them trust?
I say I found out by reaching out to other people, going out to see if there's like I found out there's these festivals that people have, these
Hmm.
light worker festivals. I started going to them, and then I met people
Yes.
there, and that's the best thing to do because all my friends that I had before, they're all gone. I have a couple of friends now because what people don't understand, they are afraid of.
Yeah.
So I have lost all those people, but
Yes.
by reaching out and going out to these festivals, I met new people. I ended up meeting like this one woman,
Yes.
and
You found some community.
oh yeah, she put this group together. It was all mediums. And when I first showed up there, I was like, oh, I got this going on, got this going on. And they're like, oh my God, your energy is so bright. You got to step back. And, I was like, okay, no problem. And then, but after we did that for about a year, and within a year, I went from asking them questions all the time to by the end of that year, they were all coming to me for answers. Um, because of where I get my answers from. Um, but for anyone else, I really want them to go out and reach out and find their people. Google it. Try to find these things that are going on. Get on Facebook here and try to find some of the podcasts that have some of these people as well, and talk to them. Just because we're all people, we all come from the same place. We can all go back to that same place if we choose. But the only way you're going to find your people is by going reaching out, because otherwise you're going to sit there and feel like you're going crazy all the time, and no one wants to feel like that.
Yes.
Because we all feel like that at some point.
Yes. That is so real. Yes. Yes. Especially if it's new is what I'm finding. If it's new to you, if you haven't had these type of experiences before. Because for me, I used to see people, I used to laugh when I when I watched that movie with what's his name? I See Dead People.
Oh yeah, I'm like him except grown up.
You know,
The
what's his
Sixth
name? I
Sense.
forgot. Bruce Willis. Bruce Willis.
Yeah, The Sixth Sense. Yeah.
Yes. When I saw that and I remembered because even as a child, I would see people and it was weird to me. Even when I think back on it, it's still weird, but it was really weird as a little girl.
Sure. You don't understand it at that point.
And I would like say if I like saw you, like if I saw you and then all of a sudden I look at you and it's like all of a sudden I would see you in the casket. And it was really weird because I would see the people exactly what they had on. So like if they had a black suit on or whatever, I would see them in the casket just like that. And sometimes it wasn't even people that we knew were sick. That was the
Right.
weird part. Now, if it was
Right.
people that were sick, that's a whole different thing. But I would see this, and I saw this for years, and I talked to my grandmother about it because she was my person, and she said, "You just need to pray for those people." Because, like I said, she was a pastor, preacher, teacher, evangelist, prophetess type, and she also was open to energy and the law of attraction and all these things, before she transitioned. But she would say, just that means you just need to pray for that person because I said, am I supposed to tell them? And she said, you have to ask God if you need to tell them. She said, because
Yeah.
sometimes they're not going to receive it. And sometimes it's not for you to tell them. And
Right.
so that was my cue. But I would see this. And after a while, I asked God to take that away because I was like, this is too much for me. I cannot handle it. I said, I don't want to see these. I don't want to see this anymore. And so for years I didn't. And then I got to a place where, it's transitioned and opened up in different ways for me now. So that's,
Yeah.
but that was something as a little girl, you're like, what the world? Because the weird thing is half the time, it would be like family and I would go to the funeral with my grandma because I don't know. I think she was a resident funeral goer. We went to all the funerals. I went to a lot of them.
That's funny.
And so we would go to these funerals and right. And I would see the people exactly as I saw them in the casket with whatever they had on. Like I had
Yeah.
an auntie, she passed, and she in the vision I saw her with a white suit on. Now I never seen that white suit, so it wasn't even nothing I knew. But I saw her in the vision with the white suit on, and I'll be doggone if that's what she had on in the box. And I was like, oh my God, here we go. And it was just so weird for me, and I know that there are probably people watching us that may have had experiences like that. So
It's
what would you
weird for
say to
everybody. I think it's weird for everybody because we are
yeah,
taught that it's supposed to be weird. We're taught that it's not supposed to be normal for us to do this.
right, exactly,
Yeah, because
exactly.
we're taught that these
It's
people
so
are
weird.
imaginary friends, that type of thing.
Yes, yes, that was real because I actually had my daughter had some sisters that were her imaginary friends, and she had like vivid experiences with them. I mean, they had like whole stories and stuff, and what's wild is I never discouraged
No, yeah, I always tell people all the
that,
time, don't
because
discourage that.
they actually there were two sisters. No, I didn't. I allowed her to have that, and my grandmother said those were her guardians. She said they're her guardian angels, and so but they had a whole story. And I remember the last time she said she talked to them because I would ask her, have you seen? I can't remember their names now, but she would say, oh, they blah blah blah. And then one day she said, I said, well, have you talked to them? She said, no. She said they went to Africa with their dad because their dad was a minister, and she said they went to Africa with their dad. And I was like,
Oh,
oh, okay, and she would have these whole conversations and everything with them, and it was just the neatest thing, and I was never that type of mom where I said, those people aren't real, don't talk to them. That was never anything that I did. So I just and nobody told me, but I just kind of embraced the woo in my kids, and she would have these full on conversations with these girls, and I thought it was kind of
yeah, that would be kind of cool
neat.
to have, sure.
Hmm.
Because
Yeah, I
we
mean,
should do that. We should do that with kids. We should have them embrace this. We should teach them that this is okay. If we
yeah,
did that for everybody, we would all be okay with life and death as it is.
Yes, yes, that is so real. That's the thing. It's like instead of being afraid,
Right.
and it took me years to get to this place. Instead of being afraid, I actually had a discussion with my husband. I said, I'm not afraid of that. I'm not. I said, because I know that it's just a
No, why
transition.
should you? Yeah, you're just leaving this place and just going to
Right.
another place.
But
That's all.
but think about how many people are, especially I was gonna say, especially our age though.
Oh
You
yeah,
know,
they're
I,
all afraid.
I think our age group is like super afraid of death. But the thing about it is our age group is dying.
Yes.
We're dying left and right. I have so many friends in their 50s that are not with us anymore. And some even
No.
in their mid to late 40s
Yeah.
and the late 50s, the early 60s. We're dying. And I have made it my mission to help people and find out what it is causing us to die. And the one thing that I've come to with my studies is we are stressed the fuck out,
we are. We do
and stress
stress
is killing
ourselves
us.
out like crazy, and over dumb
Yeah,
stuff.
that's what I was gonna say. Over nothing, and I laughed because I had to tell this girl at my job. I said, I said they're like stressing me. I said, but they don't know. I will quit this job before I will allow them to stress me out.
Oh
It's
hell
just not
yeah,
that serious
yeah.
because
I
people are
did that.
dying left and right in our generation. And I'm gonna make you laugh. So my mom's 71, and she said to me one day, I was asking her how she was doing and stuff, because I try to reach out to them and make sure they're good because I'm on the West Coast and they're all on the East Coast. My mom's actually in Savannah. And so I was asking her, I was like, well, how y'all doing, this, that, and the third. And she said, I'm fine. She said, we're good. She said, it's y'all that's dying.
That's funny.
I thought, she's right. She is right. Because if you look at it, I remember when it really hit me was, I don't know if you watch TV at all, but Christoph St. John was an actor that played on The Young Wrestlers and some other stuff too. But he was really famous for The Young Wrestlers. And then Luke Perry, who played in 90210, and then John Singleton, who was a director, and he directed Boys in the Hood and a whole bunch of other stuff. But they all died like within a week or two of each other. And they were all between like 52
And all,
and 55,
yeah, all young.
maybe 52 and 54.
Yeah,
Yes, all young and all had money. So what
yeah.
that told me was it's not money. It's not money. And then, I mean, you look up,
No,
you see
money can't keep you here.
DMX at 50. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And then whatever the Digital Underground guy at 54 or whatever. And I was like, something is wrong. It's trauma and stress that is killing us.
we do.
And I
We
started
stress
looking at that
ourselves
thing.
out, but you got to know when it's your time to go. It just is. We have a,
However, I know that we also help that too.
yeah. You can help that by you
We
can
push it sometimes with the trauma
right.
and the stress.
Yeah, because you have some control over the quality of your life, and we could help that if we controlled our
Yes.
quality a little bit better, but we don't. We stress ourselves out so much. You're just doing it to yourself.
I mean, I know people that allow their kids to stress their grown kids
Oh
to stress
yeah,
them out to the point that it killed them.
yeah, crazy, right?
And I'm like, no, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing it. Right? No, no. I've I told my kids, I said, I've done my time.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've done it. Now you are grown and you're not going to throw shit back off on me,
Oh
because
no,
of what
no,
how you feel like I raised you or something crazy. Now it's your responsibility. But I know people that they allow that stuff, and I actually had a friend that she got sick and she had found out she had lupus. And then right after that, she found out she had like cancer of the pharynx.
wow.
And she had these kids that were grown that were stressing her the hell out. And then even though she was at the place where she couldn't even work, and all this stuff. They were still calling her and asking her for money.
Oh
How do you do
no.
that to your mama? And she's, yeah. So she ended up dying. And she was only 40, I think 44, 45.
Because people are
And when
ruthless.
I sat down, that's what I'm saying. And I sat down and I actually was asking Spirit about it because that thing hurt me so bad, because I did everything I knew to try to help her, to move from that place and all that stuff. And so I asked Spirit, the Spirit was like, those kids killed her. She didn't have to die.
Yeah,
And I was like,
the only way
wow,
you can
because
change that is you have to do
she
that.
allowed that.
Yeah, you got to want to do that yourself. You got to want to change yourself. It's like if you were to talk to somebody who's an alcoholic, you could tell them, I'll take you to classes and I'll help you out as much as I can. But until that person decides to stop drinking, there ain't nothing you can do about it. It's going to change that.
No, you're exactly right. You have to make up in your mind and
Yeah.
make a decision, is what I tell people. I say, you got to make the decision. I cannot help you make the decision. I can present you with the tools, I can share, all kinds of observations, but you're the one that has to make the decision that you want to change.
Yeah, if you want to get a negative people out of your life, I don't care if it's your mom, your dad, your brother, your sister, your best friend, your so-called best friend. If you have all these people who are not helping you in your life, who are always dragging you down and not being a force of positivity, and you vice versa with them. But if you're not, if they have these people in your life, they're only in your life because you allow them to be in your life. And if you
Yeah.
don't want them in your life, you got to get rid of them. I don't care if it's your mom or dad. It doesn't make a difference. If they're being negative to you all the time, you got to get rid of them. And the only time they come back into your life is because you can't blame them. It's because of you. You let them come back into your life. You have to decide you don't want this anymore. And a lot
Yes.
of people they can't seem to do it. Oh, well, it's my mom, it's my family. So what? There's nothing in a book that says you got to
They say
have them.
that's my mama, that's not so and so.
Yeah, so what? Your mom
That
is a
is
piece of shit. Your mom is a piece of shit.
Yes. That's exactly what I say. I said, I'm not going to have toxic people in my life at all, period, dot,
No,
dot.
2 dots.
No toxic people. I don't care who they are. 2 dots. Because if you think about it, that toxicity just seeps into you, and
Yeah.
it begins to eat at you and destroy you.
Yes.
So in order to be self-preserving, is what I say, because I told somebody, I said, I used to feel selfish when I wanted to get toxic people out of my life. And this was even before I got to this point where I am dead serious. When I tell you boundaries are up, dead serious. I'm not having anybody toxic in my life. I don't give a shit who you are.
Yeah, because I'll tell you, when you have those
Yes.
negative,
And that's, but I had to get there, and that was a decision I had to
yeah,
take it.
when you get to that point, because if you have those negative people around you, and then it causes you to be negative, then you're going to have one of
Yeah.
these negative energies that didn't cross over into the light, remained here, and it's going to try to find you and attach
Entities.
itself to
Yes.
you and be around you, and then suck your energy off of you, and then give you some negative energy to turn it right back around and turn it into a vicious circle. And then
Yes.
when it's time for you to
Yes.
pass, you see that light, you go, nope, I don't want to go in there because I like being this negative person. And you're going to stay here and turn into one of those things too. It's going to come right back around in one big giant circle.
Wow. Wow. And that is so real. That is so real. It's almost
Yeah.
like a toxic loop.
Yes,
You know,
absolutely.
it's like a
Absolutely.
toxic loop.
And the only person who's in control of that is you. You have to decide whether or not you want to be in that loop. I always say we create our own storms, but then we cry when it rains all the time. Because if you're putting that negative energy out, you're creating
I
that
like
drama.
that.
And then you're just getting that drama back and you're wondering why, oh, how come I keep getting flat tires all the time? Or how come I keep spilling my coffee? Or how come, because if you're putting shit out, you're going to get shit right back. That's all. So yeah. But people don't see it that way because they're so negative all the time. They can't.
That
They
is so
can't
real. And the thing is people don't realize that.
Yeah, you could write that down and use that if you wanted to.
You know I am. I'm gonna, I'm gonna actually use it when I post this video. If
Good
you're
for
putting
you.
shit out,
Awesome.
then shit will come back in, right?
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. Put my name right next to that.
And then I like the one about creating the storms and then crying when it rains all the time. I like that.
Yep. Because people do it because they cry.
That's powerful. Because the thing
they're
is,
horrible
people
people.
are so, that's what I was gonna say. They whine about everything.
Yeah, they do.
They
And they think they're entitled to everything.
whine about everything and they don't want to make the changes that they need to make. Oh
No.
God, yes. Entitlement is something.
Because they're narcissistic. They want everybody else to do it for them, and they want to blame everybody else for their problems. Because people in this world, they just, don't
So
care.
what do you see as the solution to that?
Change. Because my thing is, the problem in this world is we need to stop segregating ourselves from ourselves. Stop segregating everybody in this world. We are all we all may look different. We may have a different color skin or different religion or different background, but we're all people. We're one race of people. We're a human race. We all live on this same planet. No one is going anywhere anytime soon. Yep. And we better start to get along with each other before we annihilate each other, because that's what's coming if we don't turn this shit around.
Yep.
Write that one down too. Because this world is crazy right now. But this craziness needs to happen in order for a big change to happen. We need something that's going to change this world, and it needs to be something big. So there's going to be, like, life is not meant to be easy. If it was meant to be easy, what would be the point of living? You're not going to appreciate it. So in order for big change to come, there's going to be some big shit that's going to come along with it first before that change actually happens.
I truly believe that this pandemic was the beginning of that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I believe it came for a reason. It came for a purpose.
Yeah, before the pandemic came, I do something also called channeling. I didn't know what it was in the beginning, but now
we
I know
had signs.
Yeah, and I was channeling with my wife, and we got a sign. They told us that the virus was coming, and they told us about the first stock market crash, and they told us this 2.5 years before it even came. And when I was doing this festival circuit, doing readings for people, I was telling some people about this, how to prepare and what to look for and all the signs. And we did all that. And when the pandemic happened, I got like 20 text messages that said, "Oh, we're so glad we listened to you, Daniel, because you were right about every little thing, right down to the last detail." I said, "Yeah, I know." And then I got 20 more text messages from people saying, "Oh, I wish I would have listened to you. We thought you were crazy. We didn't think you knew what you were talking about." And I said, "Well, you're going to listen to me now, aren't you?" Because they told us in the very beginning through spirit that this problem was.
You hear me now?
Yeah. They told us in the beginning that this problem was not going to last a year. They told us this was going to last for 7 years.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. In other words, it's going to be about 5
years.
Yeah, about 5 years.
And the wild thing is
5 years.
5 years.
5 years of shittiness, and then 2 years of coming out of that and growing to be better people. But it's still going to be bad.
So 5 years of shittiness and then 2 years.
Yeah.
Of growing.
Yeah. 2 years of coming out of it and growing and trying to be better.
That sounds about right. You know what's wild is, what's funny is that sounds so perfect, because somebody actually asked me about that, and I'm not one that does a lot of forecasting because that's not my area. I'm more empowerment and things like that. However, somebody asked me about this, and they said something about, oh well, this year was going to be better, blah blah blah. And I said, well,
Nope.
here's the thing. I said, I don't feel that. I said, I
Nope.
feel like this is going to last for a little while. That's what I
Yep.
said. Now, I didn't give years or anything like that, but I said, I believe this is not going to be over like they think. And it's not a magic, we're not going to have a magic pill or a
No.
magic shot that's going to
No. Not
wipe
a
this
magic
away.
shot either. I ain't taking that magic shot either.
Yeah. And that was what I said. Yeah. I hadn't taken it either.
No, ain't going. Ain't gonna. No, ain't happening.
That's another story in another life.
Yeah, they can try to ridicule me all they want to. I still ain't taking it. I don't go by that peer pressure crap.
Yeah. And you have a right to, because it's your body.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's your body. You have a right to. And yeah, so nobody should even be able to do that.
Yeah.
Because I saw some people that took the shot that they still got the virus. So what is
Yeah,
the
my
point?
sister-in-law got the vaccine, and 3 weeks later she got COVID.
Yeah. Yeah. So so what? What is it then? Oh, now you got to get a booster.
Right. You got to get a
Yeah,
you got
no.
got to
No.
get 2 shots a year
Anyway.
and a booster on top of that, and then they want you to do that every year.
No,
And they
I
want
don't
you
think
to go
so.
back
It's
to
all
wear,
good.
even if you got this shot, they want you to go back to wearing that mask too.
Yeah.
Ain't doing
And
it.
where I work at, now we were testing every week,
Oh man.
and now we're testing every month. And yeah, and I had to do quite a few tests because I work on the weekends now. Thank the Lord, and soon not even that. But I actually have to do the testing, so I tested like I think 10, 12 people, and I told them, I said, well, I said, if you don't come back positive, then I'm not going to come up here and tell you.
Right.
I said, but if you come back positive, then I'll come back and tell you, because you got to get up out of here. I said, but if you didn't test positive, then know that you were negative. I said, because you know it's a mhm. Because I have a upstairs and downstairs building that I supervise, and so I was like, okay, and everybody I tested, I think I tested one or two people downstairs, but everybody else was upstairs. So I said, if you don't hear from me, then you're negative. You know?
Yeah, that's the best way to do it.
And so far, all the people that I tested were negative. Though exactly, even though they were like, they say that it's on the rise here where I live at, and all this stuff, and they're talking about going back on another lockdown and all that. So I don't know really what's going
Yeah,
on with that.
it's they are saying it. They are the ones who are in control of everything.
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
So do you do
they
any
need to do.
type of
They need to shut the hell up. That's
go
what
ahead.
they need to do.
I'm with you all the way with that.
Yeah.
So do you do any type of courses or training or anything with people that have these gifts? Because I could see you having like a university or something. I mean, or like an academy maybe.
No, but what I do is Spirit tends to send me these people whenever I'm doing readings for people. Or like if I do a
Hmm.
live thing I do on Facebook. I get a lot of people come in, and I let them know that they have a gift because they tell me about stuff, and I go, oh no. Or sometimes they just come in and I go, hey, you got a gift, and they go, oh, how'd you know that? Well, you're talking to the medium. That's how I knew that. But yeah, they bring me these people all the time. But what I do is I don't want to charge nobody to help them with that. So if they have a gift, then I tell them they, give them my email address or my telephone number, and just to get a hold of me, and then I will like walk you through it until you can be on your own doing it on your own. Or if I can mentor somebody, I'll do that. But I don't want to charge anybody for that, because this is something that we were also given as well. I mean, you're not really given it. It comes through with your soul every time you come back into the world, and you have to be in this body, and it just comes through with your soul each time. You just happen to wake up at different times and
Yes.
somebody else is waking up.
Yes.
That's all. But I mean,
Yes.
I so badly wanted someone to help me with this, and I found some people. But I did find some others who wanted to charge me a lot of money, and I just walked away from those because I mean, we're born with this. This should be something we should help each
There
other
are
with.
always those.
Yeah, we should help each other throughout the world anyway, just because. Why? Just because we can or we should. So if I come across people that need some help with it, I just offer the help, and some of them come to me, and some of them don't. And the ones that don't, I mean, there's nothing I can do until they decide they're gonna figure it out. But I try to help as many people as I can with that, just because I want to, and I want them to get on the right path as well.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I just invited
Yeah.
you to a group that you might want to come in. It's a creative, I think it's creative healing or something like that. It's an
Oh,
amazing
sure.
community, and they encourage people to share their gifts and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, I would love to find. That's another thing.
So
I mean,
I
I
thought
have
about that.
joined
I was
a
like, I
couple
wonder
of
if
them. I've joined a couple of them online, but they never. You get in there for a couple of weeks, and then you find out that they're all like crazy stuff, and then they start trying to mix religion into it as well. And I just tell them, no, it's different than religion. Spirituality
yes,
is different. Yeah.
I've had that experience as well. Yes, it is because to be honest, I actually went to minister school and all this stuff. I've been in religion, spoon fed from a child, all that. But I just really believe that God is so much bigger than that.
Oh yeah. Oh
And
yeah.
they used to say all the time, take God out the box, take God out the box, but they put him in the box.
Yes, they do.
So I believe that spirituality is taking God out the box,
Yeah.
you
Yeah. Well, you can take them out of the box or take them
and
out of
really
the
looking at
take
everything
them out of
that
the book.
he created. Exactly. Take him out the box, take him out the
Yeah.
book, all of that.
Yeah, because he was
And
here
let's
before the
because
book
I'm
was
gonna make
here.
you laugh. So exactly, he's the creator. He's the
Yeah.
creator. And I had an experience where I think I was 2012. I was in South Carolina, and I heard the spirit say to me, "It's time for you to leave this place." And so I was like, okay. And first I didn't know what that meant. I didn't know what I needed to do, but I just went with it. And I just, after that, I began to get instruction. And I had one of my cousins reach out to me and say, you could come out here with me, and stay with me in Arizona. And I was like, wow, okay. My kids were grown. I was divorced. I didn't have nothing, there. And I heard this and I was like, okay. Well, I said it to some of my friends, and some of them said, God wouldn't tell you to do that. God wouldn't tell you to leave, where you were and with your friends and your family, your people, and all this stuff, and go someplace where you don't even know hardly nobody, and you
Why
don't
would
have a
you?
job and all that kind of stuff. God wouldn't tell you to do that. I said, really? I said, because he told all those people in the Bible to do it. So he's not doing it no
Yeah.
more. I mean, was that a one-time thing? He told Abraham to leave his family and go to a land he was going to show him, and he would make his name great and make his descendants greater than the number of sands. I said, so he don't do that no more? It ain't that same God? Because I went, I left and I didn't have a job. I didn't have, I had an astronomical car note is what I had. And I actually like paid my car note up about 2 months before I left because I knew I was going and I knew I was going without a job and I knew I needed a car in order to get around and all that. So anyway, long story longer, just like you said, I lost a lot of people because I listened to God and
Right.
moved. And when I did, it was such an amazing time for me because I wasn't looking for a husband, but God knew I needed one. And when I moved out to Arizona, he sent me one. And I was like, wow. And so that was another source of some of the people that were in my life. I started and jealousy and stuff. And I couldn't figure that out either, because if you are with me and we're supposed to be, friends and all this stuff, and you've been in my life for years and you've seen my struggle and you've seen, the things that I've been through, why wouldn't you be happy for me? Why? So I was like, that's fine. I said, that's fine, because I was like, we're not going in the same directions. And if you can't be happy for me, because if something like that happened to you, I would be happy for you, because I know your journey as well, you know?
You
So,
didn't really lose anybody.
case the rest. Exactly. And the thing is you, just like you said, you begin to find community, and you begin to find your people, and people
Yes.
that get you and understand, and, that you can talk to about some of these things, and actually, are not closed-minded, because that is the thing.
No, they
That is,
relate to you. They get what you're talking about. They don't question anything they just want to find out more information for themselves, but they don't question you on things. They're not afraid of anything because they've all been through it too.
yes, yes. Because don't you find that fear is like running rampant?
Oh, absolutely. Well, the government is trying to put as much fear into our hearts and our minds right now as they can. And they use that because they put this fear out there so they can have control and power over people. That's all. They want you to feel this way.
Yes.
But they want us to keep on doing what we're doing because fear makes money.
That's what I was going to say, and that's not new. The thing
No,
is I talk to people all the time, and I'm like, look at history. That's not new. It's not
no,
new.
same thing. It's just
You know,
that same narrative.
there's nothing new under the
Out there.
sun. It's not new.
No, they keep putting
Yeah.
this same narrative out there all the time. They want us to believe in it. And same thing what they're doing right now
Yes.
with the pandemic again. When people got comfortable this summer and they became unafraid of everything, now they're going to bring it back into it because now they want you to be afraid again.
Yes. That is exactly right. It's like, okay, here we go again. And yeah, I laugh about it, because now the facility I work at, they have decided now they're opening the doors, because at one time, we were shut the doors, and then people could come visit their people, but they had to make appointments and all that stuff. But now they've opened the doors, and even the visitor policies are not even, I don't even know what they mean, to be honest with
No, neither do I.
you.
It
It's
don't make
like,
sense.
so they can come in, and they said they can come in, but they can't spend the night. But then we don't have hours. We don't have visiting hours. And I'm like, what does that even mean? You don't have hours, but you don't want them to spend the night, but we can't say they can't.
Right.
Okay. So I told my administrator, I said, that sounds like double talk. I
It
said,
is.
that's double talk.
That is confusion and misdirection. Keep you
And then
keep
you
you
want
going. What
me
the hell's
to
going
enforce
on?
that. Enforce what? There's no rules.
Right.
Right. I was like, there's no rules.
And they don't want those rules because
What is the what are you talking about?
they want to
No,
be able
but
to
they don't.
make up the rules as they go along.
Yes, and that was funny, because I actually had a family member that said that to me. Oh, so they told me I could stay till 8 last night, but now tonight, because it's the weekend, I can only stay to 7. I said, look, I don't make the rules. I don't make the rules. I'm just telling you what was told to me to tell you. I don't make them. It ain't my thing. You know.
Yeah, this is another
All
part of
right,
that. This
so
is
we're gonna
this
probably
is
get
how they
ready.
pit us against each other.
Yes, exactly, exactly. So we're gonna get ready to shut this thing down. Any last words that you have to say
Uh,
about
just go
anything?
out there and try to fulfill your purpose. Your purpose is very simple, to easy to do. God made it simple for all of us to do. It's not about using your ego and make it something more special than someone else, because no one is more special than anyone else. We're all the same. We all came from the same place. We're going back to the same place if you choose to, unless you want to remain here as an earthbound spirit. You don't want to do that anyway, but it's up to you. But your purpose is we are here to help each other, but we're here to help each other
I love
just
it.
for the sake of helping each other, because not because We just because we can and just because we should, but it's going to be a physical thing too. So someone it's not just opening a door and saying hello. Someone's going to come up to you and need your help, and it's up to you to use your free will to decide if you're going to do that or not. Just decide in a good way
to
and
help them.
help everyone that you can. Yeah, just go out there and be helpful to each other and stop. Oh, here's a big one. Stop judging each other. When you see somebody in front of you and you're about to judge them, do yourself a favor and think to yourself and take a self inventory of yourself, and then think about all the crap you got going on in your life. And then think about that person in front of you probably has some crap going on in their lives too. And just let it go, bite your tongue, and walk away, because no one has the right to judge
Yeah,
anybody. I don't care who you think you are. You don't, because even God doesn't judge us. We judge ourselves 1,000 times a day. Why does he need to do it once more? Because he just doesn't. If he's not going to judge you, why are we judging each other? Because we shouldn't. That's why we need to let that shit go, because it ain't helping nobody.
that's exactly right. I cannot agree with you more. I mean, I believe that, and I still say stuff like this all the time, and people look at me and I say, well, the Bible does say, judge not lest ye be judged.
Right. So then
I
what's
said,
that?
and so I truly believe in treating other people right. So I
Same.
truly believe in treating other people like I would want myself treated.
Right.
And even in my work with, like where I work at, I believe that I treat those elderly people like I would want somebody to treat my grandparents.
Yeah.
You know? And I
Hopefully
just
that'll,
believe
that'll
if we
happen.
would do that,
Yeah.
yeah,
Hopefully they'll treat us when we get that old. I mean, I'm already halfway there now, more than
if we would
halfway.
do that,
But
even
yeah.
just anywhere in life, you treat people like you want to be
Yes.
treated, and then I believe that this whole world would be a whole lot better. Like if you wouldn't treat yourself that way, then why would you treat somebody else that way?
Yes. If we even just stop
And do you want to be
judging each
judged?
other,
And why
the
would you
world
judge
would
other
be a
people?
better place.
Yes, yes. And it's wonderful because the thing is when you start to get into that place, it's like you'll get it's like when you start feeling like you're being judgmental, then you'll get this little thing right there saying, hey, are you judging that person? You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like a trigger almost.
Yeah.
You'll get this thing like, okay, it was being judgmental. And then you'll begin to actually really see. It's like it'll open your eyes and you'll begin to see that, yes, this is what you were doing. I don't care what you call it, but that's what it is. And that's powerful.
Yeah. We all need to open our eyes and look at each
That's
other and go,
powerful.
you know what? I'm
All right.
looking
Well,
at a human
share
being.
with the people.
Yeah.
Yes. Because really, if you think about it, we're all staring in a mirror.
Right.
We're all staring in a mirror. And once we realize that, then I believe it will change people's perception and everything. Because you think about, I'm looking at you, you're looking at me.
Yeah.
So share with the people where they can connect with you. If they want to get in touch with you, or they want to have a reading or even a conversation,
For
because that's
sure.
what I tell people. I say, I'm open to conversation.
Yeah. Me too. I mean, it doesn't just
So
have to be
share
a
with the people
reading.
where they can
Sure.
connect with you. The best.
Sure, they
Yeah.
can find me. They want to get a reading or just have a. They need some spiritual advice to go on with their lives. I can get all those answers for them, uh, and they can find me at www.spiritmediumdaniel.com. It's one long word, spiritmediumdaniel.com, or they can find me on Facebook at Spirit Medium Daniel, or on YouTube at Spirit Medium Daniel. Or if they want to watch my podcast, we have one. It's called Beyond the Veil with Daniel Jackson, me, and that's at www.beyond-the-veil.com. And we talk about spirituality, but we also talk about tarot cards and UFOs and government control and health and wellness, all that stuff. We cover everything because we want to try to bring some people truth, because they need some truth in this world, because we're not getting too much of it right now.
Yes. So is your podcast on Apple, Google, and all those places or what?
Yeah, it's on Apple, Google, Stitcher, YouTube, Spotify, all the big ones.
Okay, awesome, awesome, awesome. So anywhere you want to find Daniel, you can find him. And I'm super excited and grateful that he has decided to come on my show today. This has been so amazing, so eye-opening, and it was just fun. And I hope that you got a lot out of it, um, because I did. So I'm just grateful for this time. I'm thanking him for his time coming on here and having this amazing, frank discussion. And I hope that you learned a lot in that. When you are ready to connect with him, you can find him on all those places. And I'll have the details also in the description of the video or the audio as you if you listen to it or if you watch it on YouTube. I'll have the descriptions in the link and all the places that you can find him so it will be easy for you to click on and connect. So again, thank you, Daniel, for joining me today on Straight Out of Savannah Talking with Tammy. And thank you everyone for watching and or listening to the show. So I hope that you guys have a wonderful rest of your day or whenever it is that you catch this. And Daniel, thank you so much for joining me with all of your amazingness.
Thank you for having me.
So you're so welcome. So bye now.